Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us on today. And I am so excited for being here because guess what? Again, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And guess what, guys? We are officially 10 weeks into the SOS 20-week live challenge. Yay! Yeah. Woo, woo, woo. I know I need some sound effects, right? And that is what is otherwise constituted as the halfway point, right? And if this is your first time joining us live, let me tell you quickly why you are here. You see, I spent over 30 years on the other side of the table evaluating proposals, managing more than 143 billion in federal contracts and watching businesses win big or fall apart before they ever got started. And the pattern that kept showing up had nothing to do with talent. It was structure, systems, revenue strategy, and readiness. The most capable business owners were the ones quietly struggling, not because they couldn't do the work, but because their businesses wasn't built to hold the growth they were chasing. So, I'm doing something about it. We started this on April 8th, going live at 2 p.m. every single Wednesday, and I'm doing it for 20 weeks straight. And so, as I said earlier, we are halfway there. This is week 10. It's one topic, one teaching moment, and one shift per week. And today is the week 10, the halfway point. And so, let's get into it. But before we go there, what I want to do is get grounded in what is moving, because today's topic on what is missing inside your business is going to land different, once you see what is changing around us. So, a few weeks ago, I started integrating, just weekly updates on the various policies and regulations that are changing, from week to week. And so today is no different. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and we talked about it briefly, is the Maryland litigation against FAR 52-222-90. It escalated last week, guys. On June the 4th, the plaintiffs filed a motion for a preliminary injunction asking the court to halt enforcement of the DEI discrimination clause. The amended complaint now includes Fifth Amendment vagueness challenges and Administrative Procedures Act claims, arguing the FAR Council issued guidance without the required notice and comment process. So here is what matters for you, though. Until the courts grant any kind of relief, the FAR Council's timeline remains operative. So you got to comply with anything that has been produced to you. This clause is still live. The July the 24th modification deadline is still real. So you cannot wait on litigation to do your compliance work for you. Leading into FAR 52-222-90, again, as a reminder and a foot stamp, the modification deadline is now 44 days away, July the 24th, 2026. Please be tracking this, do the things that you're required to do, and my hope is that you all are addressing this appropriately. Agencies have already started issuing bilateral modifications, and actually this week or last week, JD Supra and Haynes Boone both published in-depth guidance reinforcing what we have been tracking. The clause carries False Claims Act exposure, suspension, debarment, and contract cancellation as potential consequences. So we've already been tracking that. And again, as I communicated last week, the IBM $17 million settlement, that was the first FCA resolution or False Claim Act resolution premise on illegal DEI. So, and trust me, it will not be the last. So again, stay abreast of this. Also, the third thing, the OMB published a new proposed rule on federal financial assistance on May 29th. Again, comments are due to July the 13th, so please do not miss that. This rule revises the guidance for federal grants, cooperative agreements, and other forms of assistance to improve transparency, accountability, and oversight. So if you operate in the federal grant space or partner with the nonprofits that do, this is your window to comment. And comments, again, close on July the 13th. And I do apologize for the background noise. I decided to come outside today and take in some sunshine to increase my vitamin D deficiency. And of course, you hear the air conditioner kicking off, but we still going to push forward, right? So, and then the fourth thing we're going to talk about, Again, it's the new DFARS FOCI clarification this week. The flow down obligation is now confirmed. Clifford Chance and J.D. Supra both published deep analysis last week, confirming that prime contractors must flow down the FOCI clause in substance to all subcontractors and contractual instruments exceeding $5 million at any tier. That means any tier 1, 2, 3, it flows down. So the small business impact estimate now has been refined to 21,511 small businesses, and comments still closed July the 6th. And again, just go and make your voices heard as it relates to this particular initiative, if it's applicable. And last week, we also talked about the FY27 NDAA. Again, it is in active markup. The House Armed Services has completed its markup last week. The Senate version is moving through committee. Acquisition reform language is live. So if you do defense contracting, the rules of the road for FY27 are being written right now. So again, I want you to drop 1 in the chat if any of those 5 updates were new to you, especially the Maryland injunction motion. That is the development the legal community is watching closest this week. Because again, we're tracking and we just want to know whether or not everyone is doing so as well. So you have been at this for a while, right? And you have clients, you make money, and you have figured some things out. But there is this feeling that you have, and you probably know exactly the feeling I'm describing, and that something is missing. And so right now you're just feeling like, hey, I've been around this block for a minute. I just didn't start this right here, but I feel something. It feels like I'm missing something. So what am I missing? And so it's like you are operating at 60% of what your business could be. Like there is a version of this work that works better, and then learns more. There's a version that learns more. There's a version that feels more aligned. There's a version of you or a version of your business that you cannot quite get there. And so that feeling is not a sign that you are not grateful or not working hard enough. That feeling is data. And today we're going to decode it. And here is the 2026 version of that feeling. For those of you who are moving into federal contracting, the incompleteness right now is not just about your operation. It is about whether your business is built to absorb the compliance load, the FOCI disclosures, the FAR 5222-90 modifications, and the documentation burden that comes with the current environment. If your business feels incomplete this quarter, the gap may be the infrastructure required to operate as a federal contractor in 2026, because the way we operate today is definitely different than what we did last year, and sure as heck is different than what we was doing in 2024, okay? So then that real problem is that a business that feels incomplete is usually missing one or more of what I call the 4 pillars. So you're either missing clarity, capability, capacity, or community, right? And so when we talk about clarity, the clarity is, do you know exactly what this business is, who it serves, and where it is going? Capability is, do you have the skills, the tools, and the expertise to deliver at the level you are that you want to compete? So are you capable to deliver? Do you have the expertise you need to operate and or compete at the level that you're trying to? Capacity is, do you have the people, the systems, the time, and the resources to execute? And community is, do you have the relationships, the networks, the partnerships that open doors? You know, we get our community with a whole lot of people that does absolutely nothing for us. And so my hope is in 2026 that we're getting better at that spirit of discernment, okay? But most businesses have 2 or 3 of these, right? Very few have all 4 consistently. And the gap is exactly where that incomplete feeling actually lives. So wherever your gap is, whichever one you're missing, you know, that's why you feeling incomplete at this point in time. And here's what 2026 has done to these 4 pillars. Clarity now requires understanding the regulatory environment that you're operating in. Capability now includes, you know, compliance documentation. Capacity now has to absorb FOSI reporting, FAR clause modification and subcontractor flow down management. And community now includes your legal counsel, compliance advisors, and the contracting officers who know your name. And so the pillars didn't change. It just the weight on each one of them that has changed, or the weight on each one of them did change. So which pillar, do you think is most underdeveloped in your business? Right now, is it clarity, capability, capacity, or community? And just drop your answer. Because I really am paying attention, because I want to be here, and hopefully the community collectively we can help you where we can, right? But the truth is, your business feels incomplete because it is incomplete. And that is okay. It's absolutely okay to feel incomplete at this point in time, because what that does is just means that there's a very specific, next step that you have not taken just yet. And we want to get there, right? But the mistake is trying to fix everything at once. We're not trying to fix everything at one time, because you can't. The skill is diagnosing which pillar is the actual constraint, the one that if strengthened, would create movement in all the others, and addressing that one first. So in my experience, most businesses that feel stuck have a clarity problem, hiding behind what looks like a capacity or funding problem. You can add all the resources in the world, but if you do not know exactly, where you are going and why, those resources would just be, wasted. So, and in 2026 specifically, most federal contractors who feel incomplete right now, just have a clarity problem, hiding behind, I think, a compliance problem. So they're stressed out about FAR 52-222-90 because they do not have a clear strategy for which contracts they want, which agencies they serve, and which compliance investments are worth, making. And once this the strategy is clear, the compliance decisions become obvious. So sometimes we do have to stop and pause and identify, where the incompleteness is coming from, where's the problem, and make sure we're addressing it properly, because sometimes we're just putting band-aids on stuff and just moving accordingly. And that's what we have got to stop doing. And so here's how, you could diagnose and start closing the gap. And I'm applying each one of these to the 2026 environment. So the first thing you can do is do a gap analysis. Where are you versus where you want to be? Take 3 areas: revenue, operations, and market presence. For each one, I want you to write 2 sentences: where you are today and where you need to be in 18 months. The gap between those 2 sentences is your work. You're not vague goals. You want specific, measurable gaps. We currently serve 12 clients. We need to consistently serve 40 clients at this service level. That gap tells you exactly what has to change to your operations, your teams, and your systems, right? And at a fourth area, and what we want to do also is we want to add this 4th area actually for 2026, and that's compliance readiness. Where are you today on FAR 52-222-90 documentation, FOSI disclosure preparation, and subcontractor flow down processes? Where do you need to be by July the 24th? The gap is your roadmap. So we're going to look at, where am I at now? If it's applicable to me, where I need to be by the 24th of July, and whatever is missing from where I'm at now to where I need to be, that's the gap. That's your roadmap. Those are the things that you have to fix and correct one step at a time. Don't try to do it all, but correct each thing one at a time, if as prudent or as possible, right? Then the next thing I want you to do is just identify your single biggest bottleneck, because in every system there is a constraint. One thing that, if removed, would allow everything else to move faster. So find yours. Is it sales conversion? Is it delivery capacity? Is it financial management? Is it the fact that you have not documented your core processes? Find the one thing and put your focus attention there for 90 days. One bottleneck at a time, not 5. And in this environment, for many of you, the bottleneck right now may be compliance infrastructure, the inability to confidently respond to contracting officers' modification requests. the missing documentation that will let you be able to bid on a $5 million DoD contract, the unclear subcontractor management processes. If that is your bottleneck, name it, then build it. We have got to identify what those bottlenecks are and work on them from that perspective. And then the third thing that I want you to do is bring in an outside set of eyes. I'm visually challenged myself, and so I routinely, leverage my friends when they call to just check in on me. I'll be like, "Oh, girl, oh, dude, look at what I'm doing," and I show it to them so they can let me know yay or nay. Right? You got to do the same thing, because one of the most underutilized tools for business growth is a set of trusted outside perspectives, a mentor, a coach, a peer group, a facilitator who can see your blind spots. And when you are inside your own business every day, again, you lose objectivity. You cannot see what you have normalized. We can't. Sometimes we can't see what we're doing all the time that we normalize that just ain't right, and that keeps us stuck. That keeps us in this incomplete. But an outside perspective will surface the incomplete element faster than any amount of self-reflection. And that's just true. We reflect on self, and since we're doing it on ourselves, who's out here honest enough to call ourselves out? So hey, get another set of eyes in, and they're trusted eyes, not just any eyes. It has to be a trusted source that you bring in to, hey, just let you know, hey, am I headed in the right direction? Because guess what? It is okay. And in 2026, that outside perspective should include, again, your legal counsel who tracks FAR counsel guidance, a compliance advisor who has read the DFARS case 2021-D01 D-D011, and a community of federal contractors, who are working through this in real time. Who do you know that's going through it themselves? Ask them some questions. Colleagues, you're not asking them for privileged inside information. Just ask them, hey, honest question, dude, how's it going? What can I do to posture myself and to be prepared? Ask some of your potential prime contractors, hey, when you're looking to sub and with subcontractors and other small businesses, what else do you want us to have in place to facilitate this onboarding much more efficiently? What do I need to have in place? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. And because at the end of the day, it's something that you should not be doing alone. So bring in the outside set of eyes and that trusted source and person that you can rely on to be honest and candid and transparent with you. So I want you to drop a 10 in the comments if you have been at this more than 3 years and still feel like something essential is missing. Because at the end of the day, you're not alone. And what I will say is that, hey, you're actually in the right place, because we're here trying to help and grow and build together, right? So again, we are at week 10, the halfway point, and I hope by now, you are starting to see the through line in all of these conversations, structure, systems, clarity, strategy. And in 2026, we're adding that compliance readiness as a fifth piece of the through line, because again, policies are changing. And so you need to do the things that you need to do to ensure that you're compliant at all times so that you can be responsive anytime the contracting officer or any representative of government reach out to you and ask something of you. And that is what SOS is built on. The SORNRC's Facebook group is where the conversation continues between Wednesdays. You can go over there and put some questions in there. I see the questions, I do respond. I'm certain there are different ones who will pipe in and say, yep, she will respond. You are able to connect potentially with other federal contractors that are billing alongside you, and where you get the early heads up on policy changes before they hit your contracts. And so again, if you are not part of the Facebook group, just go over to the Facebook and just Google SORNRC's Facebook. You will see the same the Rise Reclaim Reinvent Rise logo out there. And just join the group, join the community. We are here for each other. And I think one of the things I'm going to start asking the community people to do is, hey, start plugging in there, what your business is and what you do, because you never know, you may find a friend in between the comments. So please join our group. And if you are not already in the SORNRC's Facebook group, again, join us there, because that is where we keep building between our very live sessions. So I want you to drop halfway in the comments. and let me know that you are still here, still building, still committed. And if you want my weekly regulatory snapshots, of course, they're delivered directly. So you stop trying to track this yourself. You can grab it. And I think in the notes on Facebook, there will be a link to kit.com that actually have the all of the updates since I started tracking this several months ago are posted in there, and it's moved in the folder on a weekly basis. So you only need to download the link once and just save it to your desktop, and it'll be available for you the next time. So incomplete is not a failure. Incomplete is a diagnosis, and a diagnosis, guys, is the beginning of a cure, right? So we're not. Hey, it's not catastrophic yet. There's hope at the end of our rainbow, and so we are very excited about all the things that we're doing. And so again, being halfway through this challenge, I'm actually proud of all of you who have showed up every week. Again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for you showing up. And again, I will be back here next Wednesday at 2 p.m. And the second half gets actually even better, because one of the things that I am looking to do next week is probably on Friday, and I'll post something out there live in Facebook and LinkedIn, is that I'm looking at potentially, going live on Friday afternoon sometime, just to recap our first 10 weeks that we've gone through, walk through some things, work through some things, and then provide a preview of what we can expect on the second half. So again, thank you all so much for joining and stopping by just to listen in. And if you have any comments, please put them wherever you're watching this from. I am addressing comments as able. But we are here to serve, and I'm very excited for you to be here. So thank you very much for joining.